Hello and welcome back to Inquisitor Martyr. Last time we kept going with Stage 5 of Lacon Majoris Invasion, and we'll just keep going from there.
The web of heresy and corruption is spun by powerful beings and perverted minds. Hunt their leaders, and this construct of evil will come crashing down.
Third hunt mission in a row. I think they really want me to do these. So I haven't talked about lore in a bit, and here's a little interesting bit of lore that got retconned a while back. Oh, back, I think 2nd edition, there was actually a chaos robot. Very skeleton-looking robot with the 8-pointed star on its forehead. And if you're thinking about factions in 40K that are robotic and skeletal, you might be thinking, hey, that sounds a little bit like a Necron. Yes, it does. The art looked a lot like a Necron. Granted, this predated Necrons. It was actually meant to be something more along the lines of the Men of Iron, which I believe at the time we didn't have art for. And the funny part there is, the Men of Iron still exist in current lore. The Rogue Trader set you can get, there was a large robot you can get that has the Imperial Aquila on the chest. That's actually, I don't know if it's explicitly a Man of Iron, but it is an AI and abominable intelligence, which are supposed to be illegal and destroyed on sight. It's very neat seeing that they included that, though. It makes me wish there was some degree of, chaos robots. Whether you tie them to the Dark Mechanicus, or, if you're feeling really ambitious here, tie them to Iron Warriors. Make that kind of a thing. Oh, well, we've started working on, chaos robots. Or, if you want to be, super ballsy, chaos corrupted Necrons.
Duty prevails.
I don't know of anything that says chaos can't corrupt Necrons. They still have kind of a soul. I think it'd be really neat. And once again, could give Iron Hands, or not Iron Hands, Iron Warriors. Iron Hands are loyalist. Give Iron Warriors something to work with here. Still stand by the title of my video last week's Justice for the Iron Warriors. They need something here. You can't have multiple boring factions or generic factions. And honestly, I think Games Workshop should start kind of going back through old lore and reevaluating stuff. I'm still gonna say it, squats. Bring back the squats. They were a cool idea. They're just dwarves. Then you can have chaos squats, which are just chaos dwarves. The designs effectively make themselves. And I think you could do some interesting stuff with a chaos robot.
No pity.
And I could see lore-wise, some minor leader of a dynasty of Necrons being like, you know what, the Catan screwed us over, I'm gonna throw my lot in with chaos. Or if Games Workshop wants to be real ballsy, because the Void Dragon is said to sleep somewhere under the surface of Mars, just bring the chaos, or the Void Dragon. I completely blanked on his name as I said it. The Void Dragon, just bring him out. Let's make it nuts. Let's go crazy. Let's have that fight happen. Let's create a crisis of faith since he's thought to be the Void Dragon is kind of the Omnisaya, inadvertently. Let's just go full bore and see what happens. I wish we would actually get more on the Catan, because they're an interesting enemy. They're just kind of not used or mentioned. Everything just goes, yeah, you know, they're shards that are broken up and used in some weapons, and sometimes they're stored in tesseracts. Moving on. I'd love to see one break loose. You know, a fragment that, while it can't devastate fleets, it manages to somehow re-enslave some Necrons and create kind of a splinter dynasty. You know, it pulls some under it, other dynasties or minor tomb worlds under its control, and now you have this internal fight, and they manage to liberate other Catan shards that manage to do something.
Loading.
I think it'd be cool, and it gives Necrons way more lore. It explains Necron infighting a little better, so that if you're really wanting narrative for Necron v Necron, you can just flat out show that. I'd also like to see some rules, because I believe there's Mind Shackle Scarabs that are used to enslave people for the Necrons. I'd like to see some rule set for that allows you to kind of run a Necron-led army of effectively whatever. But I do worry that would really imbalance things unless you put restrictions, you know, limited to no psychers. You can't use certain things, like you can't have a Devastator. Obliterator. You can't have obliterators. Stuff like that. I'm sure there's something that could be done. But definitely chaos robots would be fun. Hell, I'd even take just the return of the Men of Iron. Explain the lore of being like, hey, so they didn't all get wiped out, and in fact some have been hiding on, you know, their own little world that has a forge, and they've just been pumping out dudes. But I get the concern being, well, they're effectively just non-Egyptian Necrons. Which I understand, it just kind of sucks. That'd be so cool, because you could explain it with the Void Dragon. Him being like, yeah, so I can't enslave the Necrons, so the Men of Iron have to do. That would actually be a really cool story beat.
Loading.
You severed the head. Now you can watch the body wander aimlessly until it withers and dies.
We'll check this back corner quick. Yeah, I think putting some points into AoE abilities would help. Because then I can... There's one that gives me like 4% cooldown for every target killed in an AoE.
Target acquired.
And since I used it on a lot of clusters, I could potentially get my whole cooldown back, or at least a good portion of it. But I don't know, I feel like I could also get rid of my my force field here and go full sniping mode again. Just depends. Another implant. Getting a lot of those.
A 100,000 worlds, 100,000 wars. There is no respite. There is nowhere to hide. Across the galaxy, there is only war.
Now, where was I? An alarm signal. Really? You are too much.
Not a fan of the consume adrenaline challenge for a lot of gear. It's easy, yeah, because I can literally just roll and it consumes adrenaline. Or I could sit here and put on a set of armor that has cloak and just burn adrenaline by cloaking. But it just takes a long time. I know, wah baby, minor issue inconveniences me, therefore it's a problem kind of deal, but it's still just enough to be like, this is kind of annoying. But I think that's mostly because my abilities... It's not like playing the Crusader, where it's like, oh, as a Crusader you can get a rocket barrage. Well, damn, I can rocket barrage anything. It's pretty easy to justify using it at any and all times. This? I mean, look at these guys. They aren't even affected. But it's kind of hard to justify it, especially when like the cooldown takes a bit. I'm kind of sitting here going, do I really want to have this cooldown going all the time? And I'll admit it's partially my problem, because I'm a hoarder in every sense of the word in games. I'm the person who will play, you know, an Elder Scrolls game and hold on to every potion and never use them, just in case I need them. But I never use them, so it's pointless. I used to do that in Fallout with, like, all the drugs, but then I finally was like, I'm never gonna use these, so I'm just gonna start selling them, and I just sell them off for easy caps. But I always hate spending resources in case I need them later. Or if I do use something like life gems in Dark Souls 2, I would hoard them. I would farm like there's no tomorrow, just so that I'd have a bunch, so I didn't feel bad for using them. Because there's another part of me that would just be like, oh, I got hurt, I'll just trudge on through and maybe there's a bonfire up ahead. And then I'd only use healing items for boss fights. Oh, since I'm sitting here looking at Chaos Demons and thinking about them. Warhammer, more money fell off. Come on, man. Total War Warhammer 3, they showed some of the unit roster for Slanesh. Kind of funny. They're flankers, and in the video that described it, they're like, oh, they excel at taking advantage of exposed, like, rear flanks. And I'm like, I bet Slanesh does take advantage of exposed rears. But they look decent. I'm probably not going to play them much. I'm going to be maining Nurgle and Tzeentch. Nurgle and Tzeentch, probably. There's a lot of the map they haven't really shown, which... like, they flew over so many areas that are Chaos Dwarf related. And I was looking at, actually, the Mortal Empires map, and there's a mountain range in the west of Norska that could fit a place or two. Especially when you compare it to some of the areas where, like... I'm trying to think of the dwarves. Karak Zorn, where they are, right around where Heinrich Kemmler starts, and that mountain range that kind of runs all the way through to, like, I think it's Zarexil? Down by, like, Miragliano and stuff. but they have this patch up in Norska that's just mountains. And I was sitting there thinking, they could easily just kind of scoop out some of that and put some Chaos Dwarves there, because there were Chaos Dwarves up there. But of course it's also interesting because the map shows that we're going to have the Chaos Wastes north of Norska. So it'll be interesting to see which direction the Norscan AI and people who play Norska go. Because in theory, you could just be like, I'm not even going to mess with the Realms of Man. I'm going to go north and bust up Chaos because you don't have a penalty for living in Chaos Wastes. So it's like, okay, you have a potential thing there. But I don't know. I assume Realms of Chaos are going to have their own, environmental tag, so you can't just live in them. Because I know Bretonia likes to invade Norska, and it'd be weird to be like, oh yeah, here's the Bretonia outpost in the Realms of Chaos. In Nurgle's Garden, don't worry, Lewin Leonkur is just out here vibing. Lewin's just booling up here in Chaos Land. It would be funny, but I don't know how it would go. It would be fun to play as Oxyotl and just go chaos hunting. Just be like, pack it in, boys, we're going demon hunting. Just have all your skinks just darting them to death. Yeah, that game's only a little over... Actually, probably a little under 2 months now away. So that comes out in February, just like Elden Ring, which will be on the channel. I don't know how I'm going to format that, though. I'll figure something out. I might do, little episodes, be like, hey, here's a dungeon, we're gonna go fight the dungeon. And if it's short, just be like, oh, I'll be back, I'm gonna go find another one. Something like that. Not just, me wandering, because, like I said, I just hoard everything, and I can guarantee I will just walk around collecting junk for God knows how long, in case I need it. I will be playing a caster, there's no stopping me. I will do my usual build, caster with whatever katana is available. If the washing pole is there, I will be rocking the washing pole. You know what'd be cool? Another random 40k game idea. You know how we have Escape from Tarkov and all these, I hate the term, but people are using it, extraction royales? Imagine that but 40k. Not necessarily PvP, but more along the lines of GTFO. Except not curated, because that game ends up having very little content because it's all curated. But make it so you have, random gen situations. Oh, go to this planet, there's chaos, fight the chaos. Go here, do this. So on and so forth. You have that, but you play as Space Marines. You have a chance of dropping, or picking up, or you get requisition for doing missions, and then you can get gear. But then you can also get relics or very special war gear, and then as kind of a bonus thing, if you die, you can mount kind of an expedition to go get it, which might end up being a quest line of, oh, it was taken, you died to this chaos group, so it was taken by these guys, they left the planet, so now you need to go try to track them down to where they're next at, get information, through killing some or whatever, and then you do like a mission elsewhere to go get the item back. This way it isn't as much of a kick in the nuts when you lose stuff, but also it sticks to kind of the 40k lore of like, hey, we sometimes as Space Marines have to go hunt down our lost war gear and relics. And there could be a chance of like, oh, this relic or this piece of war gear has been tainted by chaos. You know, you have to give it up to the Inquisition for whatever reason. So there's like a kind of a randomness to what happens to it.
You gave them death generously. My compliments.
There's an idea there. I just don't know how much of an idea there is. What do we got? Okay, interesting. And yeah, that's fine. The last two, of course, are going to be uncommons. Or rares. Green being rare always screws with me. Knockback feared enemies, that's garbage. But that is all for now. If you enjoyed this episode, make sure to hit the like button. It helps out the channel a lot. And if you haven't already, make sure to hit the subscribe button. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.